Faith is the foundation upon which every lasting achievement, every victory over fear, and every triumph in life is built. Without faith, your vision collapses, your strength weakens, and your dreams drift into the shadows. To trust God to take care of you, you must first cultivate an unshakable faith, a faith that stands strong even when circumstances scream against it. And faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind hope. Faith is certainty in the unseen, confidence in the promises of God, and the assurance that what you need has already been provided. And though your eyes cannot yet see it, every great breakthrough begins in the mind and the heart with this single conviction: God will provide. When you believe this with every fiber of your being, and you silence the whispers of doubt that try to hold you back. Doubt is the enemy of faith and fear is its partner. But faith is the force that drives fear away and replaces it with calm courage. Think of a farmer who plants a seed. He does not see the harvest in the soil, yet he waters it, nurtures it, and waits patiently because he knows, not hopes, but knows that the harvest will come in due season. That is faith in action. When you decide to trust God, you are planting seeds in the soil of life. You may not see immediate results. You may even face storms that threaten to wash away your efforts. But faith insists that beyond the storm is growth, beyond the hardship is reward, and beyond the trial is triumph. And faith tells you that the storm itself is part of the process, nourishing the soil, preparing you for an even greater harvest than you first imagined. Faith requires discipline, and it requires the daily choice to believe when doubt presses heavily upon your mind. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well, but true faith is tested when the bank account is empty, and when the body is weak, when friends turn away, when doors seem closed. That is the moment faith must rise. In such moments, you cannot rely on what you see, for the visible may discourage you. Instead, and you must rely on what you believe, that God is for you, and if God is for you, who or what can stand against you? Faith transforms the impossible into the inevitable, and history itself is a record of ordinary men and women who trusted in divine power beyond their own abilities. They did not shrink back in fear, they stepped forward in trust. Their eyes were fixed not on obstacles, but on promises. They refused to be defeated because they knew they were not walking alone. That same faith is available to you today. It is not reserved for a chosen few. It is the inheritance of all who dare to believe. But understand, this faith is not passive. To trust God is to act in alignment with that trust. If you say you believe God will take care of you, then rise each morning with expectation, work with diligence, and walk with courage. Faith without action is only a dream. Action infused with faith becomes destiny. The one who believes but does not act has only words. The one who believes and acts places themselves in harmony with divine power, and that power will not fail. And faith is your greatest asset. It is invisible, but it creates visible results. It cannot be measured, yet it measures the size of your victories. And to trust God to take care of you is to rest in the certainty that every need will be supplied, every challenge will be conquered, and every step you take in faith will lead you closer to the fulfillment of your purpose. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood words in the human vocabulary. People often think surrender means weakness, giving up, or accepting defeat. But when you trust God to take care of you, surrender is not defeat at all. It is the highest form of strength. It is the deliberate choice to let go of the illusion of control and place your life in the hands of the one who sees further, knows deeper, and loves greater than you ever could. Surrender is not the end of responsibility. It is the beginning of true freedom. Most people spend their lives wrestling with problems they cannot solve, worrying about outcomes they cannot change, and carrying burdens they were never meant to bear. The result is frustration, stress, and fear. But when you surrender, you refuse to live in that bondage. You decide that you will no longer fight battles in your own limited strength. You acknowledge that God's wisdom far surpasses your own, and you choose to yield your plans, your worries, and even your desires into His hands. That act of surrender does not strip you of power, it multiplies it, because now you are connected to divine power rather than depending on your own. And surrender does not mean inactivity. It does not mean sitting idly and waiting for the sky to open with answers. It means releasing the burden of control while still moving forward with purpose. Imagine a ship sailing the ocean. The captain does not control the wind or the tide, yet he adjusts the sails, sets the direction, and trusts the power of the sea to carry him where he must go. And surrender is exactly that, setting your course, but trusting God to provide the wind. You still act, but you do not cling desperately to outcomes. You work diligently, but you let God decide the result. The moment you stop trying to control everything is the moment peace enters your life. Anxiety thrives on control. The mind races with what ifs and maybes, constantly calculating and second guessing. But when you surrender, you silence those voices. You no longer live in the prison of fear. And you trust that whatever happens is part of a greater design, even if you cannot see it now. That kind of trust does not come overnight. It is built daily by the conscious choice to release and to believe. Think about the times you have clung so tightly to a plan that failed, a dream that never came, or a relationship that ended. In the moment, it felt like loss. But later, when you looked back, you could see how that closed door led you to something better. That is the mystery of surrender. It feels like letting go, but in truth, it is being redirected towards something greater. Surrender teaches you to trust the process rather than demand the outcome. You are not meant to control everything. Control is heavy. It weighs the soul down. But surrender is light. It lifts the spirit. The more you let go, the more room you create for God to work miracles in your life. You cannot receive with clenched fists. Only open hands can catch blessings. Surrender opens those hands. It creates space for new opportunities, unexpected solutions, and greater peace. To trust God fully, you must learn to surrender daily, not just in crisis, not just when you are desperate, but as a way of life. Each morning, release your plans, your fears, your doubts, and your ambitions into His hands. Then move forward with courage, and knowing that you are guided by a wisdom greater than your own. In surrender, you find peace. In surrender, you find strength. In surrender, you discover the freedom of trusting God to take care of you. Adversity is not a punishment, it is a refining fire. Every trial you face is not meant to break you, but to build you, to stretch you beyond what you thought possible, and to prepare you for blessings you cannot yet see. When you trust God to take care of you, you begin to see adversity not as an obstacle, but as a test, an invitation to grow stronger in faith and character. Life without resistance produces weakness. Just as muscles grow only when they are pushed against weight, and the spirit grows only when it is tested by challenges. It is easy to declare faith when the skies are clear and the road is smooth. But the measure of trust is revealed in the storm. When everything seems to fall apart, when resources dry up, when people turn away, that is when your trust is tested. And if you stand firm in that moment, you rise to a new level of strength. Think of gold being purified. It must pass through fire to be cleansed of impurities. The flame is not there to destroy the gold, but to reveal its true brilliance. In the same way, and your adversity is the fire that reveals your endurance, your courage, and your unshakable faith in God. Many people ask, why must I go through hardship if God loves me? The answer is that growth requires stretching, and stretching is uncomfortable. If you were never challenged, you would never discover the depth of your resilience. If you never faced loss, you would never truly value abundance. If you never felt pain, you would never learn compassion. Trials are teachers, and they deliver lessons that no book, no lecture, no easy life could ever teach. Every test is shaping you into the person you were meant to become. But you must shift your perspective. If you see adversity only as cruelty, you will grow bitter. If you see it as a stepping stone, you will grow better. Each difficulty contains within it the seed of an equal or greater blessing. The challenge is not the end, it is the doorway. Trusting God means believing that behind the struggle lies purpose. Even when you cannot see the reason, you can be certain there is one. And that certainty fuels perseverance. Consider the lives of those who achieved greatness. Every single one of them passed through valleys of difficulty. They endured rejection, failure, poverty, illness, and betrayal. Yet, instead of allowing those trials to defeat them, they chose to rise. They discovered strength they never knew they had, wisdom they never imagined, and opportunities they never expected. Their adversity became the very thing that propelled them to success. And so it is with you. What looks like a setback today may be the preparation for your greatest breakthrough tomorrow. And when you trust God in the midst of adversity, you gain something even more valuable than the solution itself, peace. While others panic, you remain calm because you know who is in control. While others give up, you press on because you know this is only a chapter, not the whole story. That peace becomes your shield, protecting you from despair. That endurance becomes your weapon and carrying you to victory. So the next time hardship comes, do not ask, why me? Ask, what is this here to teach me? Do not say, I cannot endure this. Say, with God's help, I will grow through this. Every adversity is a test, and every test passed brings you closer to your destiny. Trust that God has not abandoned you in the trial. He is shaping you through it and preparing you for blessings far beyond what you can imagine. Vision is the language of faith. To trust God to take care of you is to see with the eyes of expectation, not just the eyes of sight. And sight shows you what is in front of you right now, but vision allows you to behold what is coming. Vision is the blueprint of destiny, and expectation is the energy that pulls it into reality. When you carry vision in your heart, you are declaring that you believe God has already made provision for you, even if your present circumstances appear empty. Hope is passive, but expectation is active. Hope says, I wish it will happen. Expectation says, I know it will happen. I am preparing for it. That is the difference between waiting aimlessly and waiting in faith. When you expect and you begin to align your actions with the promise you believe. If a farmer expects rain, he prepares his field. If a builder expects completion, he gathers his materials. In the same way, when you trust God and you must prepare for what you cannot yet see, your preparation is a demonstration of your faith. Vision lifts you above the limits of the present moment. When you are surrounded by challenges, vision whispers, this is not the end. When you feel weak, vision reminds you of the strength you are becoming. When you are tempted to quit, vision shows you the finish line that is still ahead. Without vision, people stumble because they cannot see past their pain. But with vision, you rise because you know the pain is temporary and the promise is eternal. Expectation fuels perseverance. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert. If he believes there is no end, he will collapse in despair. But if he sees in his mind the oasis just ahead, he will find the strength to keep walking. Expectation feeds endurance. It gives the soul the courage to continue when the body feels weary. And when you trust God, expectation is never empty. It is not built on fantasy. It is anchored in divine promise. God has never failed to fulfill what he has declared. To expect is to declare confidence in his unchanging nature. But vision requires clarity. And you must decide what you believe God has promised you, what you are working toward, what kind of future you are building with him. A vague vision produces weak action, but a clear vision produces focused determination. Once you know what you are expecting, your choices begin to align with that future. You start rejecting distractions, overcoming fear, and walking with purpose. Vision sharpens your mind and fuels your will. Expectation also requires patience. Many people give up too quickly because they mistake delay for denial. They plant seeds of faith but abandon the field when the harvest does not appear immediately. Trusting God means understanding that every promise has its season. The farmer does not demand the harvest in winter. He trusts the process and waits. In the same way, your expectation must be patient, consistent, and unwavering. And the power of vision and expectation lies in this: you begin to live as though the answer is already here. You speak with confidence, you walk with assurance, you plan with determination, and you move forward without fear. Even when nothing has changed in the physical, everything begins to change in the spiritual. That alignment attracts the very opportunities, resources, and breakthroughs you need. To trust God to take care of you, you must see beyond the present moment. You must hold the vision of what He has promised and live with the expectation that it will come to pass. In doing so, you rise above doubt, overcome despair, and walk with unshakable faith that what is unseen today will become visible tomorrow. Action is the proof of faith, and words are empty unless they are backed by movement, and belief remains an idea until it is carried into practice. To trust God to take care of you does not mean sitting idly and waiting for blessings to fall from the sky. It means stepping forward with courage, doing your part with determination, and trusting that God will provide the increase. Faith without action is only a dream. An action powered by faith becomes destiny. Many people declare trust in God, yet their actions reveal doubt. They say they believe provision will come, yet they refuse to prepare for it. And they say they trust doors will open, yet they never knock. They say they believe opportunities will appear, yet they never sharpen their skills or ready themselves to seize them. True faith is not passive, and it demands movement. If you believe God has given you a vision, then act in harmony with that belief. Every step you take in alignment with that vision is an expression of trust. Think of a seed planted in the ground. The farmer does not simply leave it there and hope. He waters it, clears the weeds, and tends the soil. He acts with the conviction that the harvest is coming. If he neglects his role, the seed dies. The same principle applies to your life. God provides the seed of opportunity, but you must cultivate it through action. And your consistent effort is the water that activates the promise. Action transforms fear into courage. When you move forward despite uncertainty, you weaken the grip of doubt. And waiting for perfect conditions is a form of hesitation that keeps many people trapped. Conditions are rarely perfect. If you wait for the storm to pass completely, you may never leave the harbor. But when you act, even in imperfect conditions, you demonstrate trust that God will guide your steps. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is movement in spite of fear. Action also attracts opportunity, and doors open for those who are already walking. You may not know which step will lead to breakthrough, but each step creates momentum. Momentum draws resources, people, and possibilities into your path, and God's guidance often comes while you are in motion, not while you are standing still. A ship cannot be steered if it never leaves the dock. Your action is the signal that you are ready for direction, and faith-driven action requires persistence. One effort is rarely enough. The walls of Jericho did not fall on the first march. They fell after repeated obedience. Trust means continuing to act, even when results are not immediate. Every small step is part of the process. Each attempt builds endurance, sharpens skill, and prepares you for the breakthrough. To stop is to surrender to doubt, but to persist is to prove your faith in God's timing. Action with faith also demands integrity. You cannot expect divine blessing if your efforts are careless, dishonest, or half-hearted. Excellence is a form of trust. When you give your best, you declare, "I believe this matters, and I trust that God will honor it." Half effort reveals half faith, but whole effort reveals confidence in God's provision. When you combine faith with action, you release a power greater than either alone. Faith gives direction, action gives momentum. Together, and they create transformation. To trust God to take care of you is not to wait passively for miracles, but to walk boldly toward them, knowing He is walking with you. Every step becomes a declaration that you believe His promise, and every action moves you closer to the life He designed for you. Peace and strength are the twin rewards of trusting God fully. When you place your life in His hands, something powerful happens within you. The storms outside may rage, but inside you remain calm. This calm is not weakness or resignation. It is power under control and the confidence that comes from knowing you are guided, protected, and provided for by a force greater than yourself. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of assurance. And that assurance produces strength that no adversity can break. Most people live in constant tension, trying to control outcomes, fearing what tomorrow may bring, and carrying burdens too heavy for any human being to bear alone. Worry drains the mind and weakens the body. It steals today's joy by borrowing tomorrow's trouble. But when you trust God, your worry loses its grip. You no longer spend sleepless nights replaying fears or imagining disasters. Instead, you rest in the truth that you are not alone, that nothing surprises God, and that everything you face can be turned for good. That rest is peace, and it renews you like water to a weary traveler. Strength is born out of that peace. Anxiety weakens, but peace empowers. And a troubled heart cannot endure long battles, but a peaceful heart carries resilience that endures any storm. When you know God is taking care of you, you stand firm where others fall. You keep moving when others quit, and you speak hope when others despair. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it is quiet endurance, the steady step forward when everything in you wants to give up, and peace gives you that endurance. This peace is not passive, it is active power. It clears your mind to make wise decisions. It sharpens your focus on what matters. It shields you from distractions and panic. It allows you to hear the subtle guidance of God's voice when chaos tries to drown it out. In that clarity, you find strength to act with conviction, to stand by your values, and to move with confidence even when you cannot see the whole path. Trusting God also means you borrow His strength. Human strength is limited, it runs out under pressure. But divine strength is infinite. When you lean on Him, you tap into a source that never depletes. You stop relying only on your own willpower and begin drawing from a deeper well. That is why some people seem unshaken in the face of trials. It is not that they are stronger than others in themselves. It is that they are connected to strength beyond themselves. Peace and strength work together like two sides of the same coin. And peace keeps your heart steady, strength keeps your feet moving. Peace calms your mind, strength fuels your actions. Peace gives you rest, strength gives you resilience. And both flow from the decision to trust God. Without trust, you live in constant fear and exhaustion. With trust, you live in calm confidence and enduring power. When challenges come, and they will, and you will find that peace is your anchor and strength is your sail. Peace roots you in faith, so you are not swept away by fear. Strength carries you forward, so you are not paralyzed by obstacles. Together, and they allow you to navigate life's storms with grace, courage, and victory. Trusting God to take care of you does not mean you will never face battles, and it means you will always have the peace to endure them and the strength to overcome them.